ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कथामूल्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं च जीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। पंचकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Okay. So who can recite the Chatusloki Bhagavad Gita? The four slokas?
Can I?
Go ahead.
Should I start, Prabhuji, chapter 12 recitation?
Yeah, Mataji, but before that, I want you to read Chatusloki Bhagavad Gita, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo.
Hmm. Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, go ahead. Just the slokas alone. Please.
Okay. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12.
नहीं माताजी मैं 10वें अध्याय में वो 8वां श्लोक मतलब 10.8 9 10 11 दैट चतुश्लोकी भगवद गीता.
Oh, acha. Okay.
I'll do 10.8, Prabhuji.
Yeah, go ahead. Just read the sloka.
अहम सर्वस्य प्रभवो मतः सर्वं प्रवर्तते इति मत्वा भजन्ते मां भूतभाव समन्वितः.
मच्चिता मत्कथा प्राणा बोधयन्तः परस्परं कथयन्तश्च मां नित्यं तुष्यन्ति च रमन्ति च.
Okay, anybody else?
तेषां सततयुक्तानां भजतां प्रीतिपूर्वकां ददामि बुद्धियोगां तां येन मामुपन्यन्ति ते.
Very good.
तेषाम् एवानुकम्पार्थम् अहमज्ञानजं तमः नाश्याम्यात्मभावस्थो ज्ञानदीपेन भास्वता.
Let's recite the slokas alone. Evam satata yukta ye bhakta swam paryupasate ye chapaksharam avyaktam tesham ke yoga vittamaha. Please. 12 point. Go ahead.
अर्जुन उवाच एवं सततयुक्ता ये भक्तास्तां पर्युपासते ये चापि अक्षरमव्यक्तं तेषां के योगवित्तमः. श्री भगवान.
Others can read, Mataji. Others also want.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Okay.
अर्जुन उवाच एवं सततयुक्ता ये भक्तास्त्वां पर्युपासते ये चापक्षरम् अव्यक्तं तेषां ये योगवित्तमः.
Okay.
श्री भगवान उवाच मय्यावेश्य मनो ये मां नित्ययुक्ता उपासते श्रद्धया परयोपेतास्ते मे युक्ततमा मतः.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, should we repeat or now once only? Okay.
Once only, Mataji. I want all of you to read the sloka. All the 20 slokas should be kind of very easily. You should be able to recite.
Okay. Okay, Prabhu.
So I want everybody to read
Okay.
one sloka at least. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Others also. 3 and 4.
ये त्वक्षरं निर्देशं व्यक्तं सॉरी ये तव अक्षरं का
अनिर्देशम
नहीं ये त्वक्षरं निर्देशम् अव्यक्तं पर्युपासते सर्वत्र गमचिन्तं च कूटस्थं मचलं ध्रुवं सन्नियम्येन्द्रियं ग्रामं सर्वत्र समबुद्धयः ते प्राप्नुवन्ति मामेव सर्वभूतहिते रताः।
ओके, क्लेशोऽधिकतरस्तेषाम् अव्यक्त्या हि गतिर्दुःखम्।
अव्यक्ता ही चक्त चेतसाम।
अव्यक्त सॉरी अव्यक्ता अव्यक्ताश्चेतश्चेतसाम् अव्यक्ता हि गतिर्दुर्ग दुःखम् देहावद्भिर्वाप्यते।
वाप्यते।
Yeah, this quickly. Anybody?
ये तु सर्वाणि कर्माणि मयि सन्न्यासमत्परः अन्येनैव योगेन माम्
अनन्येनैव योगेन
अन्येनैव योगेन माम् ध्यायन् उपासते तेषाम् अहं समुद्धर्ता मृत्यु संसारसागरात् भवानि न चिरात् पार्थ मयि अवेशित चेतसाम्।
हरे कृष्णा। मयि एव मन आधस्व मयि बुद्धिं निवेशय निवसिष्यसि मयि एव अत ऊर्ध्वं न संशयः।
अथ अथ चित्तं समपतुं नासक्सि मयि स्त्रीरराम् अभियासयोगेन तातो इचित्तं धनञ्जय।
Should I do it again, Prabhuji?
It's okay, Mother. Quickly, yes. Good.
अभ्यासेपेय समर्थोऽसि मत्कर्म परमो भव मदर्थम् अपि कर्माणि कुर्वं सिद्धिमवाप्स्यसि अतएथेदपि
Others also.
असक्तोऽसि।
Others. Others,
हरे कृष्ण।
Others.
अतैतादपि अक्षुतिसि कृतं मद्योगम् अश्रिता सर्वकर्मफलत्यागं तथा कुरु यतात्मम्।
प्रेयो हि ज्ञानमभ्यासात् ज्ञानं ध्यानं विशिष्यते ध्यानात् कर्मफलत्याग आगच्छन्त्यनन्तरम्।
अद्वेष्ट सर्वभूतानां मैत्र्य करुणा एव च निर्ममो निरहङ्कारा समदुःख सुखशमी सन्तुष्टः सततं योगी यतात्मा दृढनिश्चय मय अर्पिता मनो बुद्धिर्यो मद्भक्तः स मे प्रियः।
यस्मान्नो द्विजते लोको लोकान्नो द्विजते च यः हर्षामर्षभयोद्वेगैर्मुक्तो यः स च मे प्रियः।
अनपेक्षसु चिर्दक्षा उदासीनो गतव्यताः सर्वारंभ परित्यागी यो मद्भक्त च मे प्रियः। Okay.
यो न रिष्यति न द्वेषति न शोचति न कांक्षति शुभाशुभ परित्यागी भक्तिमान् यः स मे प्रियः।
समः शत्रौ च मित्रे च तथा मानापमानयोः शीतोष्ण सुखदुःखेषु समः सङ्गविवर्जितः तुल्यनिन्दास्तुतिमौनी सन्तुष्टो येन केनचित् अनिकेतः भक्तिर्मान् मे प्रियो नरः।
ये तु धर्मामृतम् इदम् यथोक्तं पर्युपासते श्रद्धानां मत परमा भक्तिस्तीव मे प्रियाः.
Thank you. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Shraddhadhana mat parama bhaktastve me atiti vikriya. Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Thank you. Arjuna uvacha evam satata yuktaye bhaktasvam paribhasate ye chapi aksharam avyaktam tesham ke yoga vittamaha. Okay, read the translation.
Hare
Arjuna
Krishna.
inquired, which are considered to be more perfect, those who are always properly engaged in your devotional service, or those who worship the impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested?
Okay. The purport is also very important purport, but the first part of the purport alone we can read through very nicely. Krishna brings out Prabhupada brings out the important point, and then Arjuna's question is so super duper fantastic because this lays the direct foundational necessity for devotional service to the Supreme Person. Okay, so Bhaktas Tvam Paribhasade Echabi Aksharam Abhyaktam. So what is that? That is which is contributed by Tesham Ke Yoga Vittamaha, which is the most perfect knowledge of Muslim. Okay, which means whether I have to do engaging in your personal deity worship, or I have to worship the impersonal Brahman, or the effulgence of your Brahma, your Brahma Jyoti, or the energy manifestation, or the unmanifested, which means the material nature part. So which is the best one? So all three at some point of the time, even though are kind of partially in a way representations from the Supreme Lord, but which is the best? Okay, so this lies the very important foundation that Arjuna asks the question. Okay, so this is why Prabhupada also made this chapter very importantly for devotional service. Okay, yeah. So please read this this point of the purport. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Krishna Krishna has now explained about the personal, the impersonal, and the universal, and has described all kinds of devotees and yogis. Generally, the transcendentalists can be divided into two classes. One is impersonalist and the other is personalist. The personalist devotee engages himself with all energy in the service of Supreme Lord. The impersonalist also engages himself not directly in the service of Krishna, but in meditation or impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested. We find in this chapter that of the different process for realization of the absolute truth, bhakti yoga, devotional service is the highest. If one at all desires to have the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then he must take to the devotional service. Those who worship the Supreme Lord directly by devotional service are called personalists. Those who engage themselves in meditation on the impersonal Brahman are called impersonalists. Arjuna is here questioning which position is better. There are different ways to realize the absolute truth, but Krishna indicates in this chapter that bhakti yoga or devotional service to him is the highest of all. It is the most direct and it is the easiest mean for association with the Godhead. In the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the Supreme Lord explained that a living entity is not the material body. He is the spiritual spark, and the absolute truth is the spiritual whole. In the seventh chapter, he spoke of the living entity as being part and parcel of the supreme whole and recommended that he transfer his attention fully to the whole. Then again, in the eighth chapter, it was said that anyone who thinks of Krishna at the time of quitting his body is at once transferred to the spiritual sky, to the abode of Krishna. And at the end of sixth chapter, the Lord clearly says that of all the yogis, one who always think of Krishna within himself is considered the most perfect. So in practically every chapter, the conclusion has been that one should be attached to the personal form of Krishna. For that is the highest spiritual realization.
Okay, hold on, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. So this para is also very clearly and crystal clearly mentioning, right? So every chapter conclusion, some way or other, it refers to the conclusion of how to remember Krishna, how to worship Krishna, how to take devotional service, right? So fourth chapter also ends that you should become a jnani. Sixth chapter ends that you should become a yogi in remembrance of Krishna. Seventh and eighth also talks about something with that. Second chapter also talks about difference between a jivatma and then the body. So everywhere at some point of the slokas, we are very clearly drawn to the conclusion that we should worship the Supreme Lord, right? So that is where Prabhupada also makes it very important that personal form of worship of Krishna is the highest spiritualization. All other realizations are also okay, but not the highest perfect realization. So in a way where if you see others worshipping, it is not that it is wrong or it is completely incorrect, but it is not perfect. Okay, so it is partially correct, but not fully correct. Okay, so that is where we need to see that we give them respect, but at the same time we guide them correctly. Okay, continue, Madhuri. Yeah, anybody else? These.
And so, faculty, there are two classes of transcendentalists. Now, Arjuna is trying to settle the question of which processes is easier and which of the classes is most perfect. In other words, he is clarifying his own position because he is attached to the personal form of Krishna. He is not attached to the impersonal Brahman. He wants to know whether his position is secure. The impersonal manifestation, either in this material world or in the spiritual world of the Supreme Lord, is a problem for meditation. Actually, one cannot perfectly conceive of the impersonal feature of the absolute truth. Therefore, Arjuna wants to say, what is the use of such a waste of time? Arjuna experienced in the 11th chapter that to be attached to the personal form of Krishna is the best because he could thus understand all other forms at the same time, and there was no disturbance to his love for Krishna. This important question asked of Krishna by Arjuna will clarify the distinction between the impersonal and personal conception of the absolute truth. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. So the previous chapter concluded with what? Which is the best form? Even though it was kind of Krishna was showing the Vishwarupam form, Krishna was showing the 400 form, but which is the most difficult form? Is actually this 200 form. Even the great Jnanis and Rishis have been doing penance and tapasya for millions and millions of years, and Krishna himself declares in the last part of that particular chapter what, even though the chapter 11 chapter is titled the Vishwarupam, people are out normal world, they might think, oh, Vishwarupam is so big, so thing, that is the most, but actually no. Prabhupada concludes, and Krishna himself concludes that no, the form that you are seeing is the most difficult one, that nobody, even great rishis cannot have the darshan of the Shyam Sundara form, right? So logically concluding that what, so we have to worship which form? It is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the 200 form, right? So that is where the conclusion was drawn to. And then this chapter is in continuation of that, and Arjuna makes that affirmation that yes, whatever I am trying to do or whatever I am planning to do henceforth, right? So far he had been in a different kind of a stand, but now he want to ensure that whatever he stand as a devotee of Krishna is perfect. Okay, so this chapter will destroy, or we will oversede or supersede all other chapters conclusions. So in third chapter the conclusion is what? Become a karma yogi. In fourth chapter conclusion is what? Become a jnana yogi. Sixth chapter become a Dhyana yogi, and seventh, eighth, somebody will become. So every chapter will have some conclusion and some way. But this chapter will just destroy all those karma, phala, tyagam. This everything is not that important. But beyond that all is the direct worship of the Supreme Lord. Okay, so that is why this chapter is considered very, very important. And ninth chapter lays the foundation of what is the secret of this devotion service, and the actual devotion service is revealed in this particular chapter. Okay. Clear? So why do I want all of you to repeat this slokas of 12th chapter? Is this 12th chapter is most importantly the crux of all the Bhagavad Gita chapters. Even though we say 10.8, 9, 10, but 12th chapter, whenever you find time, 10th and 15th, sorry, 12th and 15th, whenever you find time, please keep on repeating 12 and 15. Whenever you find time, just keep on repeating every day. Just to open the book and then just repeat, keep on repeating 12 and 15. Of course, 10.8, 9, 10, 11 also. But this 20 slokas and then the next 20 slokas. Okay, fine. Next go. Let's go. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Veshamano Emam Nityayukta Upasate Shraddhaya Parayopeta Steme Yukta Tamamataha.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I will read.
Yes, Mataji.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with the great and transcendental faith are considered by me to be most perfect." In answer to Arjuna's question, Krishna clearly says that he who concentrates upon his personal form and who worships him with the faith and devotion is to be considered most perfect in yoga. For one in such a Krishna consciousness, there are no material activities because everything is done for Krishna. A pure devotee is constantly engaged. Sometimes he chants, sometimes he hears or reads books about Krishna, or sometimes he cooks prasadam or goes to the marketplace to purchase something for Krishna, or sometimes he washes the temple or the dishes. Whatever he does not let a single moment pass without devoting his activities to the Krishna. Such an action is in full samadhi.
Okay. Fifth chapter will conclude what? Becoming a samadhi, right? Dhyana, from the lowest state of asana, yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dhana, dhyana, and then samadhi, right? So what is that? What is that samadhi state? Is in union or in conclusion with the fixed state towards the Supreme Lord. So here Prabhupada is making it directly understandable. What is meant by actual samadhi is always remembering Krishna, engaging the senses towards Krishna, and not a one single moment is wasted. This line is very important. Pure devotee is constantly engaged. Okay, so whenever you find that, okay, I have free time, okay, what do you say? This Kartik month is over. Wow, this 2 days free weekend. Okay, then next we will see. Anyway, December we have full holiday period. So if we start thinking in that way, then we are still not in the mode of identifying and understanding towards the goal of our real life. Okay, so that is where Prabhupada also makes it very clear. So how do the hankering should always, the devotion service means hankering. It's not like, no, I'll take rest, I'll be this one. No, the hankering towards performance of some activities, being whatever be it. You can just simply read, you can just simply listen. Even sometimes you feel like I don't want to do anything. Just to open up some song of Krishna or some lecture, just keep hearing it out, okay? So that way, at least you are engaged. It's not that you are supposed to be like, doing any specific Siva alone. Whatever be it, if you are able to ensure that you are engaged here means the engagement of your mind and senses. It's not only about the physical activity. Engagement here means specifically engagement of your senses and the mind. Okay, that is the most difficult thing. Physically, you can do 100 of activities, but mentally, how well we are engaged is more important. Okay, so Krishna answers the direct question. Yes, my personal worship is the best. Okay, the word yukta tamamataha. Okay, so he's saying sloka also very maya vesha mano ema. So who is maya vesha? Upon me nitya yukta. Okay, if he is doing not yukta, nitya yukta upasate means worshipping. Shraddhaya parapata. It's not that doing worship just like showing deepa doop deep. No, doing deep doom with shraddhaya parayopeta. With shraddhaya, with faith, right? So when you do it with faith and nitya yukta, definitely that is the perfect thing. Okay, that is what Krishna upetaha me yukta tamamataha. Okay, the 2 lines of it is very important. Maya vesha mano yamam. So fix my mind, fixing up your mind upon me, number 1. And then secondly, engaging in service with complete faith, then that is the perfection. Okay. Teme yukta tamamataha. Okay, let's go. Now Krishna, so this is the topmost one Krishna has already declared. Now he will give a lot of considerations now. From 3rd sloka onwards till 15th sloka, sorry, till 11th, 12th sloka, he'll give a lot of considerations. Even though I've given you the topmost devotional service, these things are also kind of considered, but I'm just giving you some kind of a concession. So what are they? Okay, let's go. Please read the sloka 3 and 4. Clear? Because see, I request this 2 chapters, at least 12th and 15th chapter, please give little more focused attention, because these two chapters, from a Bhakti Shastri perspective, when somebody engages or asks you about how do I understand Bhakti, how do I understand devotional service, we need to be very clear on what is this chapter all about. If somebody asks you, okay, I'll give you 5 minutes, I'll give you 10 minutes, please talk about 12th chapter. Immediately you should know at least 6 to 7 points about this chapter. Okay, please read.
ये त्वक्षरम् अनिर्देशम् अव्यक्तं पर्युपासते सर्वत्र गम् अचिन्तयं च कूटस्थम् अचलं ध्रुवम् सनियमयेन्द्रियग्रामम् सर्वत्र समबुद्धयः ये
ते प्राप्नुवन्ति
ते प्राप्नुवन्ति माम् एव सर्वभूतहितरतः
ite rataha. Okay.
हितरतः. By those who fully worship the unmanifested, that which lies beyond the perception of the senses, the all-pervading, inconceivable, unchanging, fixed and immovable, the impersonal conception of the absolute truth, by controlling the various senses and being equally disposed to everyone, such persons engaged in the welfare of all at last achieve me. Those who do not directly worship the Supreme Godhead Krishna, but who attempt to achieve the same goal by an indirect process and ultimately achieve the same goal, Sri Krishna, also ultimately achieve the same goal, Sri Krishna. After many births, the man of wisdom seeks refuge in me, knowing that Vasudeva is all. When a person comes to full knowledge after many births, he surrenders unto Lord Krishna. If one approaches the Godhead by the method mentioned in this verse, he has to control the senses, render service to everyone, and engage in the welfare of all beings. It is inferred that one has to approach Lord Krishna, otherwise there is no perfect realization. Often there is much penance involved before one fully surrenders unto him. In order to perceive the super soul within the individual soul, one has to cease the sensual activities of seeing, hearing, tasting, working, etc. Then one comes to understand that the Supreme Soul is present everywhere. Realizing this, one envies no living entity. He sees no difference between man and animal because he sees soul only, not the outer covering. But for the common man, this method of impersonal realization is very difficult.
Okay, so this is realization. So second sloka is about direct answer to Arjuna's question. Yes. However, so he starts giving concession. However, if you are not able to worship me directly, you can do all these things. What? You gain knowledge, you do many millions and millions of births you take, then understand me, try to understand me as a jnani, try to control your senses, try to render service to the society. Parobakari, like we say, parobakari. Paro means engaging in all kind of welfare and activities. So you will see, some point of the time, you will see God in others. You will see the Param Brahman or the Paramatma in others. Okay, the Pandita state, like, no. So at that point of the time, then you will be able to realize. So it's kind of not a direct worship, it's kind of a completely indirect worship. Indirect worship means you have to study this one, you have to perform a lot of penances, you have to do a lot of charity, then you will have to control your senses, then you'll have to start doing parobakaram. Parobakaram means performance of community services or communal services. Then at some point of the time, you will be able to realize Krishna. But what is that? But that form of impersonalization is so very, very difficult. So Krishna is not denying that it is wrong, but Krishna is saying it is very, very difficult. That's all, right? So Sarabhuta Hite Rataha. So he has to be engaged in all kind of services. Then it will be redemption. Okay.
Text 5, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Text 5. Klesu diktarastesam avyaktasakta chetasam avyakta hi katirtukam dihatparbir abhatyate. Translation. For those whose minds are attached in the unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. And the purport is quite long, bro. Do you want to read?
Yes, Prabhu. I think we should read this part, but
I
maybe
will read, Prabhu.
Yeah, half you can read. Yeah, go ahead.
The group of transcendentalists who follow the path of inconceivable, unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Supreme Lord are called Gyan Yogis, and persons who are in full Krishna consciousness engaged in devotional service to the Lord are called Bhakti Yogis. Now, here in difference between Gyan Yoga and Bhakti Yoga is definitely expressed. The process of Gyan Yoga, although ultimately bringing one of the same goal, is very troublesome. Whereas the path of Bhakti Yoga, the process of being in direct service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is easier and it's natural for the embodied soul. The individual soul is embodied since time immortal,
Memorial.
immemorial. It is very difficult for him to simply theoretically understand that he is not the body. Therefore, the Bhakti Yogis accept the deity of Krishna as worshipable because there is some bodily conception fixed in the mind, which can thus be applied. Of course, worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his form within the temple is not idol worship. There is evidence in the Vedic literature that worship may be Sagun or Nirgun of the Supreme possessing or not possessing attributes. Worship of the deity in the temple is Shagun worship. For the Lord is represented by material qualities, but the form of the Lord, though represented by material qualities such as stone, wood, or oil paint, is not actually material. That is the absolute nature of the Supreme Lord. A crude example may be given here. We may find some mailboxes on the street. And if we post our letter in those boxes, they will naturally go to their destination without difficulty. But any old box or an imitation which may find somewhere but which is not authorized by the post office will not do the work. Similarly, God has an authorized representation in the deity form, which is called Arch Vigraha. This Arch Vigraha is an incarnation of the Supreme Lord. God will accept service through through that form. The Lord is omnipotent, all powerful. Therefore, by his incarnation as Arch Vigraha, he can accept the services of the devotee just to make it convenient for the man in conditioned life. So, for
Let
a
me
devotee,
continue, Prabhu. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. Go
So,
ahead.
so for a devotee, there is no difficulty in approaching the Supreme immediately and directly. But for those who are following the impersonal way of spiritual realization, the path is difficult. They have to understand the unmanifested representation of the Supreme through such Vedic literature as the Upanishads, and they have to learn the language, understand the non-perceptual feelings, and realize all these processes. This is not very easy for a common man. A person in Krishna consciousness engaged in devotional service simply by the guidance of the bona fide spiritual master, simply by offering regulative obeisances unto the deity, simply by hearing the glories of the Lord, and simply by eating the remnants of the foodstuff offered to the Lord, realizes the supreme personality of Godhead very easily. There is no doubt that the impersonalists are unnecessarily taking a troublesome path with the risk of not realizing the absolute truth at the ultimate end. But the personalists, without any risk, trouble, or difficulty, approach approaches the supreme personality directly. A similar passage appears in Srimad Bhagavatam. It is stated that if one ultimately has to surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, this surrender process is called bhakti. But instead, takes the trouble to understand what is Brahman and what is not Brahman and spends his whole life in that way, the result is simply troublesome. Therefore, it is advised here that one should not take up this troublesome path of the self-realization because that is uncertainty in the ultimate result.
Okay. Anybody else can read the last para?
a living entity is eternally an individual soul, and if he wants to merge into the spiritual whole, he may accomplish the realization of the eternal and knowledgeable aspects of original nature, but the blissful portion is not realized. By the grace of some devotee, such a transcendentalist, highly learned in the process of Gyan Yoga, may come to the point of Bhakti Yoga or devotional service. At that time, long practice in impersonalism also becomes a source of trouble. because he cannot give up the idea. Therefore, an embodied soul is always in difficulty with the unmanifest, both at the time of practice and at the time of realization. Every living soul is partially independent, and one should know for certain that this manifested realization is against the nature of his spiritual blissful self. One should not take up this process for every individual living entity. The process of Krishna consciousness, which easily full engagement in devotional service, is the best way. If one wants to ignore this devotional service, there is the danger of turning to atheism. Thus, the process of centering attention on the unmanifested, the inconceivable, which is beyond the approach of the senses, as already expressed in this verse, should never be encouraged at any time, especially in this age. It is not advised by Lord Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. So this part is very important. The process of centering attention on the unmanifested, inconceivable, which is beyond the operation, is never to be encouraged, especially in this age. Because in Kali Yuga, if you do not do direct worship of the Supreme Lord as personal form, then you have all kind of possibilities of falling down or going in wrong direction or completely in Maya of getting bewilderment, and we will never be able to get into bhakti. Okay, and especially in this Kali Yuga. So because we have lot of avenues and possibilities to get distracted, because there are so many things, right? So that is why Prabhupada also expresses that point very clearly. In this particular age of Kali, it is not at all advised to get into any of the Jnana Yoga or the impersonal way of worship. Okay. So I'll give you one homework. So there was one, you remember this one, you know, the what is it, the Sakshi Gopal story also, right? When this old Brahmana and young Brahmana boy went to Vrindavan, and then the Sakshi Gopal was there. And then the Sakshi Gopal deity started walking from Vrindavana all the way towards Orissa, right? So how does a DT form walk? No, it will walk. Whenever it is required, it will definitely go. Whenever the DT form wants to talk, it will definitely talk. Okay, so those are all some of the nice pastimes. Another thing also important is how do we understand Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? How do we understand the other incarnations are also very important. We should never assume that even though Shastra is in one way say he incarnated as the most let's say important as in the form of a devotee. So Krishna they incarnated as a devotee. So it maybe Mahaprabhu is one of these. No, he is Krishna, right? So in one you know this pastime where one Maharaj, okay, you try to find out. I don't know whether you will be able to find out, but it is a kind of homework. There's one Maharaj who came to when he was in Brahmachari, 1970s, when this Vrindavan temple construction was going on. Okay, Prabhupada was kind of little old, and then he was sitting one day in the afternoon. He was taking a sun bath around 4 o'clock in the open veranda in the front of the Krishna Balram Mandir. He was just simply saying nobody was there. So this Brahmachari, this boy, he just walked in straight, and then he was entering into the ashram. And then Prabhupada was having his stick, and they said, "Who are you? What do you want?" And then this person said, "I want to join this ashram." And then Prabhupada was like, he started asking questions. And then he started one important question: who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? And then this person said, "It's Krishna." No, he is incarnation of Krishna, or he is partially representation of Krishna. No, he is Krishna himself. So then Prabhupada was asking him, keep on asking the same question. Then that person got irritated. I think you don't know, right? He told Prabhupada back the same thing. I think you don't understand. It is Krishna himself is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself is Krishna. Then Prabhupada laughed and said, okay, then go. And then at that point of time, some of the brahmacharis came, and then they asked, and then this Maharaj, he later became a Maharaj. Okay, so this brahmachari fell flat, and then he said, "I want to take shelter at a lotus feet." And then so it's a very wonderful pastime. And then Prabhupada told that no, he'll become a best devotee, he'll become a good sannyasi, because he knows the truth that there is no difference between Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we might in one way will say Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Gauranga, okay, he's an incarnation. No, he is Krishna. Okay, so find out who is this Maharaj. Okay, this is a homework for you. If you read through Chaitanya, if you read through Prabhupada Leelamrita or any of the stories, you will get this. Okay, I'll give you a small example. Okay, let's go to the next sloka. This sloka is also
Hare Krishna. ये तु सर्वाणि कर्माणि मयि सन्न्यासमत्परः अनन्यानेव योगेन
No, ananyenaiva. Okay, very easy.
अनन्येव
No, no,
योगेन
repeat, Mataji. No, ananyenaiva. Okay, ananyenaiva. Okay, very important. Don't.
अनन्येनैव
Ah.
योगेन मम ध्यानते तेषामहं समुद्धर्ता मृत्यु संसारसागरात् भवामि न चिरत्पाथ मे आवसेता चेतसाम्. Translation: But those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Pratha, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. Purport: It is explicitly stated here that the devotees are very fortunate to be delivered very soon from material existence by the Lord. In pure devotional service, one comes to the realization that God is great and that the individual soul is subordinate to him. His duty is to render service to the Lord, and if he does not, then he will render service to Maya. As stated before, the Supreme Lord can be appreciated only by devotional service. Therefore, one should be fully devoted. One should fix his mind fully on Krishna in order to achieve him. One should work only for Krishna. It does not matter in what kind of work one engages, but that work should be done only for Krishna. That is the standard of devotional service. The devotee does not desire any achievements other than pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. His life mission is to please Krishna, and he can sacrifice everything for Krishna's satisfaction, just as Arjuna did in the battle of Kurukshetra. The process is very simple. One can devote himself in his occupation and engage at the same time in chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Such transcendental chanting attracts the devotee to the personality of Godhead. The Supreme Lord herein promises that without delay he will deliver a pure devotee, thus engaged from the ocean of material existence. Those who are advanced in yoga practice can willfully transfer the soul to whatever planet they like by yoga process, and others take the opportunity in various ways. But as far as the devotee is concerned, it is clearly stated here that the Lord himself takes him. The devotee does not need to wait to become very experienced in order to transfer himself to the spiritual sky. In the Varaha Purana, this verses appears. Nayami paramam sthanam chiradi gatim vina garudas skandam arupya yatecham anivaritaha. The purport of this verse is that a devotee does not need to practice Ashtanga Yoga in order to transfer his soul to the spiritual planets. The responsibility is taken by the Supreme Lord himself. He clearly states that here that he himself becomes the deliverer. A child is completely cared for by his parents, but thus his position is secure. Similarly, a devotee does not need to endeavor to transfer himself by yoga practice to other planets. Rather, the Supreme Lord, by his great mercy, comes at once, riding on his bird carrier Garuda, and at once delivers the devotee from material existence. Although a man who has fallen in the ocean may struggle very hard and may be very expert in swimming, he cannot save himself. But if someone comes and picks him up from the water, then he is easily rescued. Similarly, the Lord picks up the devotee from this material existence. Once one simply has to practice the easy process of Krishna consciousness and fully engage himself in the devotional service. Any intelligent man should always prefer the process of devotional service to all other paths. In the Naraniya, this is confirmed as follows. Ya seve sadhana sampatita purushartha chatustaya taya vinatad apnoti naro narayana Shrayah. The purport of this verse is that one should not engage in the different processes of fruitive activity or cultivate knowledge by the mental speculative processes. One who is devoted to the Supreme Personality can attain all the benefits derived from other yogic processes, speculation, rituals, sacrifices, charities, etc. That is the specific benediction of devotional service. Simply by chanting the holy name of Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. A devotee of the Lord can approach the supreme destination easily and happy, but this destination cannot be approached by any other process of religion. The conclusion of Bhagavad Gita is stated in the 18th chapter. Sarva dharman parityaja mam ekam sarnam braja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshashyami ma suchaha. One should give up all processes of self-realization and simply execute devotional service in Krishna consciousness. This will enable one to reach the highest perfection of life. There is no need for one to consider the sinful action of his past life because the Supreme Lord fully takes charge of him. Therefore, one should not fruitfully try to deliver himself in the spiritual realization. Let everyone take shelter of the Supreme Omnipotent Godhead Krishna. That is the highest perfection of life. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you. Thank you. Nice, Mataji. Thank you. So let everyone take shelter of the Supreme Lord. So this is what the benevolence of our acharyas. Okay, Prabhupada makes it very clear. It's not like, oh, you come, you are not qualified. Nothing like that. It is Krishna is there for everybody and anybody. Even though apichecho durachar. Even if you have done any most abominable activities also, Krishna is there to give that deliverance. Okay. So in this loka, what is the important point? If somebody worships him personally, he will come personally and then do the deliverance, right? So that is where it is making it very interesting. If you've seen one of the photos, in this Gajendra Moksham, in Gajendra Moksha, this sloka is always referred for Gajendra Moksha prayers. When Gajendra was in a very terrible state for more than 1,000 years, he was continuously crying in pain, right? So he was continuously crying in pain. Initially he had his friends, he has so many wives, he has children, so many friends, everything. When he was trying to come out of that particular difficulty because of his own personal strength, right? Bhagavatam states very nicely that he will try to come out, because he is a very massive, Gajendra was a very massive elephant. He's not like an ordinary, he's the king of all the elephants, a very massive elephant, right? So he was trying to show him like, okay, let me try to come out. But no. So he cried. Then finally what happened? He called his friends, relatives, his so-called, so dear ones, his wife. But nobody could help him. Right? So at that point of time, there was the biggest realization that yes, only Adi Moolam, Adi. He is making it very nicely in Bhagavatam. He calls that Adi Purusham, that supreme truth, that original person. So he calls him that Adi. Right? It's very nice loka. So immediately Krishna rushes. Immediately comes in that. Immediately Narayana comes, rushes from his Garuda, and then he chastises Garuda that why are you flying so slowly, right? Then he comes and delivers the Gajendra. Then one of the photos you would have seen. I saw some of the photos where Vishnu will carry Gajendra and then in one hand, and then this crocodile also on his shoulders. Okay, this sloka is also very Mam Ekam Sharanam. Sorry, this one. I saw this one. Where is Skandam? This one. Garuda Skandam Aropya Nayami Paramam Sthanam Achir Adigatam Vinaha. Okay, Garuda Skandam Aropya. He will come on the shoulder. He will come on the Skandam means that the shoulder. So he will fly like anything, like like kind of swiftly coming, and then he is a swift delivery. At the Anivartitaha. So he will come and then definitely do that. Protection. So Krishna, the Lord has demonstrated this throughout Bhagavatam, throughout various things, right? When what is another example? Any other quick example like Gajendra? Any other example?
Prahlad Maharaj being delivered by Narasimha Bhagavan.
Absolutely. Nice. Thank you, Prabhu. So at every position, when Prahlad was given a test, Krishna was able to give them that assurance. Nice. Thank you, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, the Jarasan one also is there, right? Who was given he was allowed to give 100, he was allowed to use 100 wrong words, and after that, Krishna will kill him like something.
Yeah, Shishupal.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
That is Shishupal.
And Prabhuji, one more question regarding that Gajendra Stuti you are telling. Like Prabhuji, the struggle between that alligator and Gajendra was very long, 10,000 years So, Prabhuji, why was that like that? Even if he prayed last year, I mean, in previous birth, he had already prayed to Krishna, but he was not remembering the name of Krishna, the name of Narayana. He was not able to take that. Struggle was for so long. So, was this only because of Krishna's willing, Krishna's I mean, because of Krishna wanted that he is not taking his name, or how? What was the reason behind why this fight went so long? Or Krishna wants to give us some lesson ki nothing is permanent in this, and nobody is yours in this material world. Only Krishna is there, who is only going to. Is that any other lesson he wants to give us through this, Prabhuji? Hare Krishna.
Very nice question, Mercy. That's what I was saying. See, it's not that he wanted to give a lesson, because Gajendra demonstrates a very important personality like a human form, like a human, like a forgetful soul, forgetful child. So what does Gajendra do? He's in intoxication. So he's in a state of where he's very proud that I am the supreme person. I am the most this one. So for first few years, he assumes that, okay, it is just another crocodile. Okay, so let me try to bring out myself. So he assumes first his own power or his own strength is the best. Okay, so this in one way our struggle also. Sometimes, all these Nastikas or all the people will think, no, I have struggled, I have done, it is all my work, let me do it myself. It is all my hard-earned money, so I will do it. So they will never think about, or they will not believe that there is a supreme power beyond this one. So it is a first level. And then then it keeps going for a long time, but it doesn't. So Krishna will, even though he's willing, he wants to see that, that particular Jivatma realizes that exact moment that, yes, I want to surrender. Okay, until that Jivatma realizes that his forgetfulness is of Krishna, and he starts remembering, then he will immediately come. See, for example, when we are all doing something else somewhere here and there, Krishna was giving us all the pokshanam. Pokshanam means poshanam, sorry. He was giving us the protection, he was giving whatever this Jivatma, everything. But the moment we start realizing that, no, I have to start performing devotion service, then immediately Krishna will start giving that reciprocation and that love and affection. Even though he was giving that strength, everything, but still the devotional part, Krishna was just holding on. Right? Krishna will give you the devotion, the mercy of devotion service. Only we show our endeavor. We show our interest towards him. So in Gajendra's story, initially for a few years, he was thinking, I'm the best guy. After a few years, he thought, no, it is not going. Okay, let me call my friends. Then friends also tried. Nothing is working. And then his pain started struggling more and more. And then afterwards, he called his wives. Wives also tried, nothing happened. Then at some point of the time, everybody left. When somebody is completely helpless, that is the situation. At that point of the time, we will realize, oh, somebody is beyond me. I'm not able to do. My friends are not able to do. Then I have to think about who can help me. Yes, now I remember that. No, the Lord. So this situation is there for everybody, even in our normal material life also. We will try to forget our Supreme Father. We will try to seek all other help, which is in a way where we will see that everything is mine. But the moment we realize that only God can help me, then Krishna will definitely help us. Okay?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Right. So that lesson is very important. If at all Gajendra had immediately called Krishna, definitely he would have come earlier actually. We don't have to wait for the 1,000 years or 10,000 years. But he took his own time. It is not Krishna. Krishna was waiting. Okay? He was just waiting for deliverance, because that Jivatma has to turn towards Krishna. Like we have in the other chapter, we saw the two parrots, right? The Jivatma and Paramatma sitting as two parrots in the same tree, the same sort of. So it is enjoying this material body. But the moment that parrot turned towards that other witness parrot, immediately it will be delivered. Only thing is, at the moment of turning, it all depends upon the individual person. That's all. Okay, so some of them in Krishna consciousness, they come right away from their childhood. For some, it is 20 years. For some, it is 40 years. For some, it is 78 years. But however, at any point of the time, if they are able to turn towards Krishna, immediately then you get. Okay.
Thank
Like
you,
another
Prabhuji.
example, Prabhuji.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, Prabhu, go ahead.
Yeah, and Anuj Prabhuji is giving some example, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, one example of is of Draupadi also, that that she surrendered in the in the court in the the royal court, when she was, getting disturbed, she immediately surrendered to Krishna, and Krishna, swiftly helped her. So that could be another example here.
Very nice example, Prabhu. Very nice example, because she thought she will be able to do it, but she was the most intelligent because she knew that her own husbands, they are helpless, and she knew that apart from Krishna, nobody could help, because
but Prabhuji, she also took time. She was
yeah,
looking to everybody, his all 5 husbands and all the gurus, and then after that she left and everything in vain, and then she remembered Krishna, oh Krishna, and then
yeah, correct. That's all. Very nice. Okay.
Is it same like Damodar story, Prabhu endeavor and then surrender,
Correct.
right?
Yes. That is all. So the sloka's importance is about deliverance, and sloka's importance is also about how do we quickly do our surrender. It's not, we shouldn't take our own time. Okay. Then when we take our own sweet time, then Krishna will say, okay, you want to come now or you come later. It's up to you. That's all. Okay. Clear? Okay, let's go to this sloka, next sloka.
But Prabhuji, it is also said that we need to do our endeavor. We cannot completely be dependent on Krishna.
Yeah. So what is our endeavor? Our endeavor is remembrance of Krishna. Right? Our endeavor is of 2 types. One is I will do it myself, and then I will ensure that its success is everything me. That is normal karmi endeavor. But this endeavor is I will do it for pleasing Krishna. I will do my activities for pleasure of Krishna. Then Krishna will definitely.
So if I am in trouble, should I straight away call Krishna, or should I try to endeavor to solve the problem
First you call Krishna, and then start trying yourself. Then you will definitely get it.
Okay.
Is it similar like, in Damodar month that it is a 2-finger shots for the Krishna to tie?
Yes.
Your efforts plus the mercy of the God.
Correct. So others will say first you try, then Krishna, you remember Krishna. No. Our Siddhanta is first remember Krishna, then you should try. Then only it will come. Otherwise, we know our endeavors will never go will be always in a way very futile only, because we don't rely on mercy of Krishna.
Right.
Prabhuji, it is said like efforts has to be given by us. Yeah. Krishna says, remember us, keep me in your heart, but efforts and whatever things has to be done by you. You need to try everything, but I am always there. If you remember me, I am there with you. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Prabhu, I will wait.
Yeah, good.
Mayeva man adhasva, mayi buddhi diveshaya, nivasishasya si mayeva ata udbhana samshaya. Translation: just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus you will live in me always without a doubt. Purport: one who is engaged in Lord Krishna's devotional service lives in a direct relationship with the Supreme Lord. So there is no doubt that his position is transcendental from the very beginning. A devotee does not live on the material plane, he lives in Krishna. The holy name of the Lord and the Lord are non-different. Therefore, when a devotee chants Hare Krishna, Krishna and his internal potency are dancing on the tongue of the devotee. When he offers Krishna's food, Krishna directly accepts these eatables, and the devotee becomes Krishna is by eating the remnants. One who does not engage in such a service cannot understand how this is so, although this is a process recommended in the Bhagavad Gita and in the other Vedic literatures.
Prabhupada is using all high technology words, Krishnaized. Okay, so 50 years ago itself, he started using all this high funda, Krishnaized. Now we all use this size, that size. Now so Prabhupada is using Krishnaized by eating them. So it becomes, so whatever prasadam that we take, it will be divided, or all the karmic reactions are removed, and then we get that. Okay, in the previous one with locus list, we saw Arjavik, importance of Arjavigraha form also. So that is also very important. I think that also is one. So this sloka is about Mayeva. So mana adishta. So fully fixing buddhim niveshaya. So fix your intelligence, mind, everything towards Supreme Lord. Ata urdham na samshaya. Asamshaya means without doubt. Shamshaya means no doubt. I mean, so na samshaya. Asamshaya and asamshaya both are same. But you have to have that full conviction that yes, definitely Krishna will deliver. Krishna will give that particular intelligence. You will live in with me always. Okay. Nivasasi. Nivas means nivas. We say nivas, right? Nivas or so staying. So he'll be definitely staying. Okay. So this is a series of slokas from 8 onwards. So fix the mind and intelligence upon me. Now this sloka is very important. Next one. If you are not able to fix your mind and intelligence, then what?
Atha chittam samadhatum na saknoshi mai stiram abhyasa yogena tato mam ichchaptum dhananjaya. My dear Arjuna, O winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga. In this way, develop a desire to attain me. In this verse, two different processes of Bhakti Yoga are indicated. The first applies to one who has actually developed an attachment for Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by transcendental love. And the other one is for one who has not developed an attachment for the Supreme Person by transcendental love. For this second class, there are different prescribed rules and regulations one can follow to be ultimately elevated to the stage of attachment to Krishna. Bhakti Yoga is the purification of the senses. At the present moment in material existence, the senses are always impure, being engaged in sense gratification. But by the practice of Bhakti Yoga, these senses can be purified. And in the purified state, they can come directly in contact with the Supreme Lord. In the material existence, I may be engaged in some service to some master, but I don't really lovingly serve my master. I simply serve to get some money. And the master also is not in love. He takes service from me and pays me. So there is no question of love. But for spiritual life, one must be elevated to the pure stage of love. That stage of love can be achieved by practice of devotional service, performed with the present senses. This love of God is now in a dormant state in everyone's heart, and that love of God is manifested in different ways, but it is contaminated by material association. Now the heart has to be purified of the material association, and that dormant natural love for Krishna has to be revived. That is the whole process. To practice the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga, one should, under the guidance of an expert spiritual master, follow certain principles. One should rise early in the morning, take bath, enter the temple and offer prayers and chant Hare Krishna. Then collect flowers to offer to the deity, cook foodstuffs to offer to the deity, take prasadam and so on. There are various rules and regulations which one should follow, and one should constantly hear Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam from pure devotees. This practice can help anyone rise to the level of love of God, and then he is sure of his progress into the spiritual kingdom of God. This practice of Bhakti Yoga under the rules and regulations with the direction of a spiritual master will surely bring one to the stage of love of God. Hare Krishna.
Okay, so the 8th sloka is about fix your mind completely on with your intelligence and mind. But if you're not able to do atachittam samadhatum na sankvashi mai stiram. If it is not stiram, if it is not stiram, if it is not very this one, what do you say? Abhyasa yogena tato mam ichchaptum dhaninsa. So you do an abhyasa yoga. Abhyasa yoga means practice devotion, which means your sadhana bhakti. Okay, in nectar devotion, you will get into different sadhana bhakti, and then raganuga bhakti, and then ragatmika bhakti. So those things will come in the next sections of our chapters. But most importantly, is all about sadhana bhakti. Sadhana bhakti means following rules and regulations. That the love and affection means always thinking, how do I serve Krishna? If it is not coming, then at least to follow the rules and regulations. Waking up early in the morning, performing Mangalarati, performing chanting, doing deity worship, start giving offerings, and then following this one. So all these things require guidance, require a spiritual master guidance. So follow that. Okay. So if that spontaneous love and affection is not coming, at least do this. Abhyasa yogana. Perform this Abhyasa yoga. tato mam ichaptum danya. And then you will definitely get that. So in a way, Krishna is giving that little concession also. Okay, that if you're not able to get that level, it is okay. At least start performing the practices or regulative principles or whatever that we want to do. So because we are anyway serving, right? So this Jivatma is nothing but a dasanudas. So it will be either serving Maya or serving money or serving other bosses, but instead we start serving Krishna, and then at some point of the time that love and affection will start coming. Okay. So that love, that is a love of God. It is a very nice word. Prabhupada also used, and then he started using the word love feast, other things, because that will give more and more personal relationship with him. And that will automatically purify your heart. The most importantly, why are we not getting that? The reason behind not getting the spontaneous love and affection is what? Because our heart is not purified. Because still we have anarthas. Because still we have a lot of sensual gratification. Because still we have so much of baggage of desires, material desires. How do I eradicate all my material desires? How do I eradicate all my anarthas? How do I eradicate my sensual this one? It is only through sadhana bhakti. That's why Prabhupada is emphasizing that perform your sadhana, perform this, do your chanting regularly, do your this one regularly, because it will purify our heart. It will purify our material anxieties. It will purify our desires. It will clear away all the anarthas and slowly transcend us from the material platform to the spiritual platform. Once we are in the spiritual platform, then that love and affection will automatically come. It's not that, okay, this is done, then immediately. No. To get that love and affection itself, we need to do all these cleaning activities, activities. Once we do that, then our intelligence and mind will be definitely be fixed, and then the love and affection will start coming. Okay, see, when you go through the stories of our great acharyas, the Goswamis, they are so engrossed in Krishna consciousness in the way where when Mahaprabhu gave them orders, go to Vrindavan, start performing devotion service, build temple, this one. They were completely in that particular state, right? If you know about stories of Sanatana Goswami, Rupa Goswami, others, they didn't bother about what are their this one position, nothing, right? So that way they were able to render service directly with love and affection. And Krishna was also trying to reciprocate. There are so many nice pastimes, right? In Sanatana Goswami's pastimes, when Madan Mohan was saying, okay, I want to come with you, Sanatana Goswami said, no, Baba, I don't have time. I cannot be, taking you. I have to feed you. Then I have to do this. I'm already a bhikari. I'm already a kind of a beggar. I'm kind of a madhukari person. I'm going from house to house. Then Radha Madan Mohan will say, whatever you get, you give me. Then what Sanatana Goswami will say, today you will ask roti, tomorrow you will ask gulab jamun, day after tomorrow you will rasoi. Then the Radha Madan will say, no, whatever be it, it's okay. So at some point of the time, what he started giving him roti, that whatever, that roti, if you read through Bhagavatam, if you read through the stories, it will be very, Bhakti Ratnakara clearly mentioned that roti, that atta is not very pure atta and all. Somebody like throw away atta, right? Like you make big packets of atta and then whatever small atta is just lying around. So with that atta, he will make roti, no salt, nothing, just Yamuna water. He will just make something like no big tandoori tawa and all. He'll just make it and then he will just burn it. Then he will just eat it. So Radha Madan Mohan was like, having that from Sanatana Goswami. It is unimaginable. It is not even, we are not even think, right? So even without salt. Then one day he asked, Radha Madan Mohan asked, he started talking with Sanatana Goswami, said, yeah, I came with you, but it's okay. But every time you are giving me without salt, can you give me a little bit salt? Then Sanatana Goswami becomes angry. No, I know. Today you'll ask this, tomorrow you'll ask that. That is why I told you I will not be able to. So these are all wonderful way where it is the love and affection, the Raganuga, the Ragatmika stage is all wonderfully demonstrated by our own acharyas. So that is why whenever we glorify our Guru Parampara and acharyas, we have to see how much of love and affection, how much of devotion service they demonstrated. They showed us that that the importance of bhakti, importance of direct deity worship, all those things. Okay, so when we read through this 20 slokas, we need to pay our respectful obeisances to these wonderful acharyas, including Prabhupada, including our Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, and so many others, our Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, so many others also, because they gave us this. They gave us this devotion service, and it is our duty to glorify them also. Okay. Hare Krishna. Let's go into the next sloka, 10th sloka.
Hare Krishna.
Shall I read, Prabhu?
Yeah, what?
Go ahead.
अभ्यासे पे असमर्थोसी मत्कर्मा परमो भवा मद अर्थम अपि कर्माणि पूर्वम सिद्धिम अपवस्यसि. Translation. Avapasyasi. Okay, Prabhu. Translation. If you cannot practice the regulation of bhakti yoga, then just try to work for me. Because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage. One who is not even to practice the regulative principle of bhakti yoga under the guidance of a spiritual master can still be drawn to this perfectional stage by working for the Supreme Lord. How to do this work has already been explained in the 55th verse of 11th chapter. One should be sympathetic to the propagation of Krishna consciousness. There are many devotees who are engaged in the propagation of Krishna consciousness and they require help. So even if one cannot directly practice the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga, he can try to help such work. Every endeavor requires land, capital, organization and labor. Just as in business, one require a place to stay, some capital to use, some labor and some organization to expand. So the same is required in the service of Krishna. The only difference is that in materialism, one work for sense gratification. The same work, however, can be performed for the satisfaction of Krishna. And that is spiritual activity. If one has sufficient money, he can help in building an office or temple for propagating Krishna consciousness, or he can help with publications. There are various fields of activity, and one should be interested in such activities. If one cannot sacrifice the result of his activities, the same person can still sacrifice some percentage of propagate Krishna consciousness. This voluntary service to the cause of Krishna consciousness will help one to rise to higher state of love for God, whereupon one becomes perfect.
Thank you, Prabhu. This is very nice, right? So, if you're not able to fully do sadhana bhakti, if you're not able to do real devotion services, that's okay. What do you say? Abhyasebhyo asamartosi mat karma paramo bhava madartam api karmani kuram siddhima avapsasi. So, if you're not able to follow sadhana bhakti, if you're not able to, at least try to just work for me. Okay? And because by working for me, you will come to the stage. So, just work for me means what? Whatever endeavor that I do is for Krishna, whatever activities do. So, in that way, it will be also at some point of the time you will realize that and then he will come. So he's all talking about performance of perfect karma yogi, right? So perfect karma yogi means what? He will do everything, even though he has some sense gratification, at least he will give something to the Supreme Lord. Okay, so even though his goal is different, even though his activities are completely not towards Krishna, but that's okay. Okay, so that is what is what is being mentioned. So Prabhupada is also mentioning his hard labor. So whatever land, labor, capital, whatever you require, everything can be diverted towards Krishna when they have something. Okay, that is why during Prabhupada time also Prabhupada utilized them very nicely. Like all these big landlords, the Beatles, so many, right? So he pleaded to them. It's okay, you continue to do whatever you want. At least give something to Krishna. Right? So that is where, at least in such a way that they are also doing something for Krishna, and then one point of the time or other they will become perfect. They'll help, because remember this, when Bhagavad Gita, if you read through Leela Amrita, publication of Bhagavad Gita, the acidity was one of the biggest challenges. So Prabhupada had to go here and there, and then these Beatles, they helped him a lot in publishing the main first set of this one. So that also went to Nippon Point. Like it was first published in Japan because of the cost, and then from Japan it all got transported or imported into the different countries, and then it started. So Krishna, so Prabhupada, if you read through Prabhupada Lilamrita, Prabhupada was so super duper intelligent to know how to utilize these kinds of personalities in service of Krishna. Even in India also, all this Birla group, Ambani group, whomsoever, all big persons, whatever be it, they are able to serve Krishna in such a way, even though they have other so many sense gratificatory, it's okay, but at least they are helping, right? So in a way where we need to appreciate them and then pray that at least Krishna at one point of the time, they will help to get that perfection. So that's the last word, whereupon one becomes perfect. So let's continue. 11th sloka.
I'll read.
Yes, Prabhu.
अथैतदप्यशक्तोऽसि कर्तुं मद्योगमाश्रितः सर्वकर्मफलत्यागं ततः कुरु यतात्मवान्. Translation: If, however, you are unable to work in this consciousness of me, then try to act, giving up all results of your work, and try to be self-situated. Purport: It may be that one is unable even to sympathize with the activities of Krishna consciousness because of social, familial, or religious considerations, or because of some other impediments. If one attaches himself directly to the activities of Krishna consciousness, there may be objections from family members or so many other difficulties. For one who has such a problem, it is advised that he sacrifice the accumulated result of his activities to some good cause. Such procedures are described in the Vedic rules. There are many descriptions of sacrifices and special functions of punya or special work in which the result of one's previous action may be applied. Thus, one may gradually become elevated to the state of knowledge. It is also found that when one who is not even interested in the activities of Krishna consciousness gives charity to some hospital or some other social institution, he gives up the hard-earned results of his activities. That is also recommended here because by the practice of giving up the fruits of one's activities, one is sure to purify his mind gradually, and in that purified stage of mind, one becomes able to understand Krishna consciousness. Of course, Krishna consciousness is not dependent on any other experience because Krishna consciousness itself can purify one's mind. But if there are any impediments to accepting Krishna consciousness, one may try to give up the results of his actions. In that respects, social service, community service, national service, sacrifice for one's country, etc., may be accepted so that someday one may come to the stage of pure devotional service to the Supreme Lord. In Bhagavad Gita 18.46, we find it is stated, Yata pravrittirbhutanam. If one decides to sacrifice for the supreme cause, even if he does not know that the supreme cause is Krishna, he will come gradually to understand that Krishna is the supreme cause by the sacrificial method.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Okay, so these two slokas, how do I understand between okay. These two slokas, 10 and 11? 10 is what is the difference between 10 and 11? Anybody? Any thought? What is 10th sloka? What is 10th? If you cannot practice, then try to work for me. But because of working for me, you will become. Okay. Then 11th is, if you're not able to work in this consciousness, then give up the result. How do I understand between two? Yeah.
Maybe like Prabhu, 11th one is like you're not giving it to Krishna, but maybe you are giving it for some other cause, not for yourself, but maybe for some other good causes.
Okay. Then?
Yeah, Prabhuji, the difference between 10 and 11 is 10 is saying like whatever whatever we are doing it for, we should do it for Krishna, remember Krishna and do. And in the 11th one, it is saying that even if you are not able to do that, you offer everything to Krishna. You offer all the results, whatever you do, you offer that results to Krishna also, that also works.
Correct.
Hare Krishna.
Correct, Mati. Partially correct. Okay, anybody else?
11, it is not saying specifically offer to Krishna, but it is just more of you not getting attached to the result. Whereas 10th was very specific to keeping Krishna in the mind.
Correct. Yes. So difference between 10 and 11 is 10th is you always think about Krishna, always work for Krishna, and then you continue to work for Krishna. You are not doing any devotional service, but you just work, you do as a karma, as a nishkama karma yogi. I don't have desire, but I'll just keep working and then I will give it. Here, at the end of that particular activity, okay, I have material desire, this is sakama karma. So the previous one, this one is that one. I am still having that consciousness, and I'm giving it to Krishna. Here, I don't have that consciousness, but I am still at the end of that result giving up the karma phala tyagam. Okay, sarva karma phala tyagam tata kuru yata. So the karma phala, at the end, I'm just giving up everything. Okay, so that at least at that point of the time, at least he will be benefited. Clear?
Prabhuji, how do we know who is a karma yogi? Somebody who's not going to the temple, for example. Can we consider them as a karma yogi? I mean, how do we know who is a karma yogi?
See, if, it's a very, very difficult realization, Prabhu, because many of them will be falling under the category, because for some point of the time they will be having their own desires, but once in a year they will do this dhanam, they will do the some mercy. So they will also fall under the karma yogi category, because karma yogi category is very the circle of karma yogi is very big. Okay, somebody will be always giving some donations regularly, and then always thinking about activity, but still they will continue to work. It is one category. And then some will do only whenever it is required, but that also is a kind of karma yogi. So that is why karma yogi is kind of a very bigger bigger bandwidth or bigger scale to measure.
Okay.
Because we cannot conclude, okay, he's a perfect karma yogi. No, we cannot, because karma yogi categorization is like how, for example, if you say devotee, everybody is at some point of the time a devotee, because they're chanting, they're doing sadhana bhakti, they are doing this thing. But how do I differentiate between a pure sadhana bhakti and devotional? Very difficult. But everybody are classified under the big gamut of devotions or devotees group. Same way karma yogis also. We may not know. Like we might think, okay, he's the perfect karma yogi, but after some point of time, another person also, he will do just some simple things. He will also fall under the simple karma yogi category.
No, the reason why I was asking was, when you are preaching, for example, if you are preaching to someone, we may think that he is not doing any devotional service or he is not connected with Krishna, but he may already be a karma yogi and maybe doing something to please Krishna. So when we are preaching, how do we consider?
Mostly, Prabhu, mostly if you go and find out if somebody is visiting temples, somebody is like kind of little bit that tinge of bhakti is there, they will fall under karma yogi category, because somehow or other they'll do some dana, some tapasya, some yajna, whatever minor things they will try to do. So they will definitely be, if somebody is completely a nastika, who doesn't even turn towards the temples, who doesn't have any kind of faith, then he is in a different category. But little bit faith, little bit of this activities that they do, they will definitely fall under the big bucket.
That little bit part everybody is doing. Mostly, if you see Indian people, they are little bit, everybody is doing, right? Somebody is going to Ganesha temple, somebody is going to Shiva temple, and someone is, somebody is doing charity at hospital or dharamshalas. So little bit everybody is doing in India.
Correct. That is why Bhagavad Gita mainly emphasizes from an external point of view karma yoga very importantly, because it will encompass everybody together, the whole big group of karma performances of karma. Even we will say, no, do your karma, don't worry about it, give. So perform, do your duty, and don't engage. So all those things are all is try to cover up the entire mass of people. Yeah, you're right, Prabhu. That is where it is.
Okay, thank you.
Like Prabhuji, yeah, like yesterday was a big day for the Kartik month. Prabhuji, many devotees, like many people who came only yesterday just to offer Deepam. So that also comes under Kam Yoga, Prabhuji.
Of course, that's okay. Yeah. At least they get that Sukriti. At least one day they visit, right? See, when there's a story of Prahlad, somebody will say Prahlad, the story is all about, he was not doing anything. One day he just threw a flower into the temple of Vishnu, and the next birth he became a Prahlad. Like that, there is a story also. So like that, we don't know. So somewhere that small Sukriti will trigger them, and then they will become good. So it's okay.
Okay. Like Prabhuji in Bhagavad Gita, it's karma, akarma, and vikarma. It has been classified already. What is karma? So how can we classify with these three things also? Does it becomes easier to classify what is actually the karma yoga is?
So all these people who do this karma yoga, no, they'll get punya phala. They'll good, even though they are not doing bad, they are not doing vikarma, they are doing karma. So they will get that little bit of sukriti, and as well as the, what do you say, the ticket to go to Swargaloka. They'll be born in big families. So it is all good credit. All credit balance will increase. That's all.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji.
But when they keep getting this credit, some point of the time when they try to have that association with devotees or taking prasadam or associate with sannyasis or taking Bhagavad Gita, then with that little bit portion, they might get little more sukriti to get into Krishna consciousness. So,
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
okay, that's good. So clear these two slokas, because this two slokas is very important. Okay, how do I differentiate between working for Krishna and then because this is lower, because number what do you say, number 11 is lower than number 10. Okay, not higher. Now 10 is higher than 11. 10 is continuously for Krishna. 11 is at the end giving up the self for Krishna. If you're not able to work in this consciousness of me, so 10th is all about working in that consciousness, but still I'm working. I'm not serving. Okay. But here I'm giving it up at the end of that. So I will do whatever I want. At least at some point of the time, I'll give something to. So it is all about what is it? Karma phala tyagam. Okay. And then try to be self-situated. So that is also recommended, because the practice of giving up from that is sure to get gradually, and then it will get into a pure state of consciousness. See, everybody, we all came through this path only. Most of us, slowly we started to get this one, and then at some point of the time we realized that, okay, then this is the best way, and then we started. Okay. Okay.
Eight onwards it's like same. They do this. If you cannot do this, then at least do this. If cannot, then at least do this. It's like.
Yeah. So that is what we will see. So when you go through this, those who worship direct form, and then advancement is indirect form is advancement, very difficult. And then this is what we will do. Okay, this is pure devotion service. Then you'll say, at least start working for Krishna. If you're not this one, at least to do karma phala tyagam. At least to start giving some donations, and then start giving this one. So this is all about these two. 11th and 10th is about slow karma, and then he will talk about jnana. In the 13th, he will talk about, if you're not able to do karma, at least to do jnana. At least start, and then he will talk about dhyana. So like that, he will start giving every step by step in such way, and then finally you will get that this one. So it's a kind of a step by step from what is it, from this particular section. He will go one by one. Okay. So this is again one way you can say. You can say purification, and then, for example, result, then fixing the mind, then following the principles, working for Krishna. Slowly, at one point of the time, we will get that particular this one. Okay. You want to continue another half an hour? This section will finish, or we'll stop here. I think we can stop here. You can stop here, then we can continue. But this we can read the translation alone. If you cannot take up this practice, then engage your cultivation of knowledge. Better than knowledge, however, is meditation, and better than meditation is the nice sloka. This is okay. Shreyo hi jnanam abhyasat, jnanat dhyanam vishishyate, dhyanat karma phala tyagas, tyaga shanti ananta. Okay, so which is mean what you try to do cultivation of knowledge, but cultivation of knowledge is however, meditation is better than this one. So, but better than meditation is the renunciation of fruitive activities, and for such, by such renunciation, one can attain peace of mind. Shantim adivachite, that shantim anantam, that you will get that peace of mind. Okay. So this is that section by section he will continue. Okay. And then this 13th onwards, he will talk about the pure devotion service. From 13 onwards, it will talk about pure devotion service. Okay, please read the purport. I think if you can read the purport of this, we can complete this sloka also.
So, one question: renunciation of the fruits of action and 12:11 is the same thing.
Well, 11 is same thing, but here there's a difference is what the most important thing is the process by which you attain that. Okay, so that is directly this one where sarma karma phalatyagam at the end of that. This is like in one way same thing. Okay, karma phalatyagam, but most importantly, getting that shanti, not following through dhyana, jnana, and whatever the other processes, but directly in terms of performance. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, read this part, but then we'll stop.
Okay, Prabhu, can I read?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. As mentioned in the previous verses, there are two kinds of devotional service: the way of regulative principle and the way of full attachment in love to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For those who are actually not able to follow the principles of Krishna consciousness, it is better to cultivate knowledge, because by knowledge one can be able to understand his real position. Gradually, knowledge will develop to the point of meditation. By meditation, one can be able to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead by a gradual process. There are processes which make one understand that one himself is the Supreme, and that sort of meditation is preferred if one is unable to engage in devotional service. If one is not able to meditate in such a way, then there are prescribed duties as enjoined in the Vedic literatures for the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras, which we shall find in the last chapter of Bhagavad Gita. But in all cases, one should give up the results of fruits of labor. This means to employ the results of karma for good cause. In summary, to reach the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the highest goal, there are two processes. One process is by gradual development, and the other process is direct. Devotional service in Krishna consciousness is the direct process, that direct method. And the other method involves renouncing the fruits of one activities. Then one can come to the stage of knowledge, then to the stage of meditation, then to the stage of understanding the super soul, and then to the stage of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One may take either the step-by-step process or the direct path. The direct path process is not possible for everyone. Therefore, the indirect process is also good. It is, however, to be understood that the indirect process is not recommended for Arjuna, because he is already at the stage of loving devotional service to the Supreme Personality, to the Supreme Lord. It is for others who are not at the stage. For them, the gradual process of renunciation, knowledge, meditation, and realization of the super soul and Brahman should be followed. But as far as Bhagavad Gita is concerned, it is direct method. It is the direct method that is stressed. Everyone is advised to take to the direct method and surrender onto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Hare Krishna.
So clear. So Sudhir Prabhu, this is an indirect method. Go by Shreyo hi jnanam abhyasa, jnana dhyanam vishishire, dhyanat karma phalatyaga, chaga shanti. But in the 11th, it is directly sarma karma phalatyaga. Okay. Kartum mad yoga mashritaha, sarma karma phalatyagam tata kuru yadatmava. Okay.
Okay.
Oh.
So that is why he states, if you cannot take up this practice, which practice? Direct practice. Then you do this indirect process. Okay.
But here something else is written, and Prabhupada is writing some.
That is what, if you see through Krishna way, Krishna is making it in a way very thing for everybody. Like, okay, see, all of you try to do this in this way, but at least if you do not follow this way, try to do dhyana. Okay, try to cultivate knowledge, try to cultivate this one, and then renunciation of this one. So renunciation of the fruits of the action. So what is the fruits of action here means? The fruits of cultivation of the knowledge, fruits of cultivation of meditation. Say, I do a lot of meditation, and then the effort or result of all the meditation has to be given to Krishna. I cultivate all the knowledge, then I have to surrender to Krishna. So the endeavor that I have put so much of thing is karma phalatyagam. So I have to result of that particular actions has to be given to Krishna. Okay, Tyagat. So then you will get Shanti Anantam. Then afterwards, you will get that peace of mind. Okay, so
Yeah, the ladder seems to be going the other way, right? While Prabhupada is saying the ladder is going the other way.
So Prabhupada is making it very clear. Don't get into, if you read through Krishna, he will try to satisfy everybody. But Prabhupada, no. Don't get into anything. Just do this. That's all.
Because, yeah, the way we understand is just go into direct lift. Don't take the stairs. And the stair route is that you develop this knowledge, and then from the knowledge, you will be able to do some meditation. And from meditation, you will be able to see the super soul.
Yeah.
And through the super soul, then you will be able to come to a point where you will be able to see Krishna in two-handed form.
Correct. So that is why without purport, if you see, then you will assume that, okay, my level is only this one, let me try this. That's all.
Yeah.
But Krishna is, he wants everybody to be within the gambit. So he wants everybody. He doesn't know. But Prabhupada is also like that, but Prabhupada is making it very clear. Don't get into too much of speculation. Just do this way, that's all.
Actually, if you think about it, normally people basically try to do some charity. Once in a while, go to the temple. So by doing that, they will probably come to a point when they will be able to start cultivating some knowledge, whereby somebody someday will give them a book and they will say, okay, let me try to read it. And through knowledge, they will then be able to, who am I, what am I doing,
Correct.
stuff like that.
Correct. They will start reading, getting into bhakti steps. Slowly they will get into that's okay. I mean, that is not at all this one. Okay. But if you go and sit with Prabhupada, will say, why are you wasting your time? Right? Prabhupada said, don't waste time. Just directly come start chanting, do this. But
Yeah. Yeah, because even after chanting, Krishna is saying that I give them the knowledge, right?
yeah.
So the gyan is going to come later on. You start chanting through the process of devotional service. He is guaranteeing that he will give the gyan. He will give the knowledge.
Correct. So that is where Prabhupada, that is, you read through so much of Gyan to understand that Gyan is given by that same person. Okay.
Aham agyan jam tama. He's saying already
Yeah.
10.3, 10.8, 10.9, 10. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So when we read through 11th chapter, nobody would have realized, oh, I am seeing Vishwarupam, I'm seeing, but finally makes it very point, hey, you have Krishna directly. That is more bigger thing than, but you are going through the entire bigger processes, right? So that way we realize that Krishna is there directly with us, given by Prabhupada, given by us directly, but we don't realize that value, that Chintamani, that value of that Krishna's form. That is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he gave Krishna Bhakti, he is not like normal. He gave the highest Krishna Prema, the Madhurya Bhakti, which is the topmost. There's nothing less or nothing more than that. But that is topmost. But we still we are not able to get that. But we are trying to attempt to that. Right? At least we don't even realize that is the topmost. There's no qualification required for that. So that is also very important. Okay, let's stop here. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna. Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank
Everyone
you,
pranam.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam.
We'll talk about who is dear to me. Okay, who is dear to me, who is dear to me, who is very dear to me. So he'll talk about all the his dear devotees. So far, what is devotion service, which is very important, and then who is very, very dear to me, who is very dear to me. Okay, so this.
Is that the reason why 12th chapter is very important, to understand these qualities?
Yes. This qualities is very important, because until otherwise we don't understand this quality. First is the quality, but before that, two parts to this chapter. Right? First part is about pure devotion service, which is kind of Ananya Bhakti, which you don't go through all kind of ways, but directly into that is first part. But second part is also, how do I realize that devotion service is through these qualities? These you ask, no, how do I understand karma yogi? The same way, how do I understand a pure devotee or a bhakta is through these ways.
Okay. Right. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.
Realize the devotee by his words, not by his external postures or external identities, by his vachanam or how he speaks. Right? What do you say? Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you.